It's your girl, Foxtrot Juliet. That's right, I'm using some cool lingo. First up, let me show you some new art I got that was actually recommended to me a couple months ago by a viewer, Melissa. This is advice from the Beatles. This is so cool, man. Check this out. Any situation in life, there's a Beatles lyric to go with it. This is such a cool thing. I'm going to get it framed and put on my wall. I got the 13 by 13 inch one. I'll put a link in the description if you want to get this for yourself. I got it from this site called Society 6, and if you buy it through my link below, I get a small commission. But hey, if you feel weird about that, just search advice from the Beatles, Society 6, and you'll get it. The link is in the description if you want to get one of these cool pieces of art for yourself. I've just been thinking about how difficult it is to be in the present moment, because it's so much easier to be in the future or in the past, isn't it? And even when you're trying to be in the present, even when something brings you to the present, there's something else that will just bring you to either the past or the future pretty quickly. There's a lot of triggers everywhere. I have Sirius XM radio in my car because they gave me, the $5 a month special, which tip, if you just cancel it, eventually they'll give you the $5 a month. They might even give you better if you hold out longer. I don't know, but so I'm listening to it, and I like to find what I like about Sirius XM are the random channels they have. So I've been listening a lot to rural radio number 147 on your dial, and it's what you would think it is. It's a bunch of farm reports and talking about like the rodeo. It's a bunch of stuff out west. It's a lot of talk about stuff going on in Saskatchewan. There was someone on there the other day from Ituna, Saskatchewan. Really cool stuff. Talking about the price of wheat, the acreage of soy. Some rodeo guy got stepped on and died recently. People make a big deal about football, American football, and how dangerous it is, but they don't have, people don't get stepped on and killed in football. Do you know what I mean? Not to make light of this guy's death. It's awful, but it's weird because I wouldn't have known this unless I had been listening to rural radio. What I find fascinating about listening to stuff like that is has nothing to do with my life, and yet there are these people who are like, that's their life. Isn't that incredible? They're all and it's a very important thing. If not the rodeo so much, but agriculture and growing food and stuff. If these people didn't have this whole other life that I didn't know about, I don't know if I would ever eat. You know what I'm saying? It brings to mind how much of a super organism the human race really is. We think, oh yeah, I'm a person, I'm an individual, but you are so reliant on so many other people in the human race that you'll never even meet. You're whole groups of people who are on rural radio, who are out in Saskatchewan, who are growing food, and who are thinking about calving season. What calving season? That's never even crossed my mind, but I listen on the radio, they're saying, oh yeah, I moved my calving season from February to fall to the autumn, and it's great. It's amazing. Something I'll never have to think about, hopefully. I don't know, I'm weirdly drawn to this radio station because of just how different from my life it is. Sometimes, here's what it is, I think. Well, first of all, it gives you an appreciation for something else, but you just start to get claustrophobic in your own life at a certain point, It's like, oh crap, I'm doing the same thing over and over. And so then you listen to someone on the radio who has a totally different life, a totally different set of things that they're worried about. They live in a different place. And it's freeing in a way. It's like, oh, my life, my life has these routines and limits, boundaries, whatever. But there is more to life. I don't know. It's fascinating. If you've got SiriusXM, tune in. And if you don't have SiriusXM, I'm sorry. Maybe you can listen. You can't listen online. Why am I even saying that? I've got this beard going on. People in the comments are giving me compliments. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I've noticed that I am being treated differently in public. And maybe this is my imagination, but the other day I went to a couple stores, and the cashiers seemed like extra polite. They were like smiling at me, and it was like genuine. It didn't seem to be a bunch of BS. And I thought to myself, this seems to be a trend now. Is it because I have a beard? Are people treating me differently? And it's true. There's got to be some difference, even if that was a coincidence yesterday. People in general, I think, are definitely treating me different than when I was clean shaven, and especially from when I had long hair. I had a man bun for a while, universally hated, and about 2 or 3 years too late, maybe. I don't know. But I liked it. I thought I was being cool. And in some ways, it was cool in certain circumstances. But you can't deny that it's very specific. It's a very specific statement to make with your hair. And definitely, people treat you different when you look like that compared to when you look like this. And I like it. Here's the thing, though. I think I look good, but I hate having this hair on my face. Like, I feel like I am trapped in my face, and I can't stop. I'm always like petting it and stuff. If you look at, I did a video with my buddy Jeffrey. We talked about writing last week. You can check it out, link in the description. The whole time I'm like doing this and stuff. And when I'm recording now, I know not to do that, but that was a long conversation, a long form conversation where a lot of times I was listening to what he was saying, and so I just idly go to my hair. And I had a beard like 5 years ago, and I ended up cutting it because I was messing with it so much. I'm like constantly plucking on it. It's this obsessive thing. And it, like I said, it just feels like, to the ladies out there who are never going to have a beard, it feels sort of like maybe if you put some kind of weird mask, you ladies like to put the mask on your face, something that hardens maybe a little bit. That's kind of what it feels like. It just feels kind of weird. Granted, I've only had it for a month. Maybe if I have it for another few months, it'll feel better. I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have it. I'm going to stick with it for at least till sizable. I'm going to grow it out pretty long. It's going to be, I don't know, Yukon Cornelius size. There we go. I don't know. Anyway, so it's interesting to think about just changing the way you look. You're the same person, but people treat you differently because they have a bunch of associations of what a guy with a beard is like versus what a guy who is clean shaven is like versus what a guy with a man bun is like, And you just go into these interactions making these snap decisions that you're not even aware of. And it can be amazing to change something about you and then notice these subtle differences in the crowds amongst the masses, how they react to it. I have been sitting on this letter. I got a letter a month ago from an ex-girlfriend. Not the most recent one, but the one from a year ago that I talked about a lot last year. And, we're on good terms. We've kept sort of in touch. And she sent a letter that was basically like, I think she was trying to come to some kind of closure and was basically expressing how she was angry at me for not trying hard enough to keep things together. And I just don't know how to reply. And I've written it like 5 times. The problem is I can't, there comes a point where it's like, do I really want to be, like, if I'm being open with this person, is that even the right thing to do? Because could that just could that hurt the other person? Not like I have anything hurtful to say. You know what I mean? I just mean showing some openness, some genuine feeling, some sincerity might just make the person sad that it's over and not bring the closure, just make it worse, make it, oh, I miss this person even more. You know what I mean? Not to say, look, maybe that sounds egotistical, like I'm thinking, oh man, I'm irresistible. No, I just mean if you're open with someone and say, yeah, this is how I felt, maybe that's not smart. I don't know. Because this is not a relationship that I think could work. So like getting back together is not really an option. Though, like, let's get real. Even as crazy as it is, as maybe a bad idea as it is, it still goes through your head. Or even though you had reasons for why it was a good idea to break up, then then you're like, oh, those reasons don't matter as much now, you know? Because I feel, a certain way. Because I feel nostalgic. Because I feel lonely. I don't know. Sometimes it's like, well, maybe I never know when I'm right or when I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. Sometimes I wish that I could just have, and you all aren't going to know. Sometimes, why am I asking you all? That sounded mean. But I don't know. Sometimes you wish that you could have this direct line to God and just be like, yo, can you just tell me what to do? Can I have phone a friend? It would be much easier to make decisions about these kind of things if you could just say, oh, well, someone else told me to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I hate having to make decisions for myself and then be like, I have to live with it if I'm wrong, but ultimately that's what you have to do. Do you get what I'm saying? I just don't like that not knowing, but that's life. You just don't know. You don't know what's right or what's wrong. Well, to a degree you do, but there are some situations, is what I'm saying, where you just don't know. So the immediate situation is, I don't know how to write this letter back to her. And, we're, like I said, we're on good enough terms that she would understand. What am I saying? I thought about just texting her and be like, look, I don't know what to say. So maybe it's a bad idea to stay in touch with your ex after a breakup. I don't know. It's just too painful. Like, it could be too painful in the moment to be like, am I really never going to talk to this person ever again? But maybe that's the better thing to do. Because, you think about some people you've never talked to. Like my girlfriend from college, I haven't talked to her in like 7 or 8 years. I don't care. She's dead to me. But, I don't know. Like, even if you're over them in the sense of, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not over anyone. Maybe, oh my gosh. Actual tears. I am shaking and crying right now. But anyway, so that's one of the things. It's not really a big deal. I just am putting off writing this thing because I just don't, I'm good at writing part of it, but then I get to a point where it's sort of like expressing why I didn't think things were working out. And then there's a part of me that's like, That's not a good enough reason. It's like, why do I need a reason? I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, sometimes I wish that we lived in a culture with arranged marriages so I didn't have to, like, think about this. Do you know what I'm saying? This is too much. It's too much of a hassle. I came out of my office, out of work the other day. It's actually been like every day this week. It's kind of nice. I come out of work and I look to the west. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west. And I see, I get out of work after the sun is set, but there's still light over there. And the way that it is where I work, it's sort of right before the crest of a hill. And the sunset is behind the hill. And most of the sky is like dark blue, like really dark blue or even black. But then you get over closer and it's more like golden. It's not even golden because it's too far after. It's like this dusty peach color. And I don't know, it's just beautiful to look at. And so I come out of work and I'm like, oh, check it out. And it's like, I don't know. And then there's the black trees that are silhouetted against the sky over there. And if it's a little later, there's a couple stars. And the other night there was more clouds, and it was weird because it was like mostly dark, but then the bottoms of the clouds had these lines of pink on them. Kind of this faded pink that was barely there. And when I see something really beautiful like that, it's this weird thing of I become fully present for just a moment. But then that moment seems to be connected in some way to the past. Like you feel very present, but then it reminds you of a time where you saw something beautiful, like you saw the sky and it was beautiful the day before or 10 years ago, and it just, the emotional state of seeing the beauty, I don't know, you tap into this undercurrent that's kind of been there your whole life. And then you get back to it and you're like, oh, so it's weird. It's like you're present, but then you're also tapping into this other thing that isn't in the present moment. And I think it's good to always be having your eyes open for beautiful stuff and just stop and look at it. And it's also kind of sad because it's like, well, it's the sunset, so it's like just a few minutes out of the day, and there's this urge to want to somehow capture it, take a picture. And I think even with this camera, which is a pretty good camera, it's not going to like look as good as it does to my eyes. There's just going to be things about it that aren't going to come out. And yeah, it's so weird to go from a day of being in the office and being like, this work, and then you go out and then you see, oh, everything's beautiful. Weird. And then you get into your car and turn on the rural radio and listen to some guy talk about the exchange rate of Canadian dollars to US dollars. One of my teachers in college said, fall in love with something every day. And I think that's something or someone, I guess. And I think that's good advice. I doubt he made that up. Someone else more famous probably said it, but yeah, I think that's a good way to live, because then you're finding something in life every day that is beautiful and that you can like give your heart to, even if it's just the sky, even if it's just this weird golden pink color, And the beauty of it is that you can't hold on to it. It's just there for a moment, but maybe if you're lucky, you'll see it again tomorrow or next year or in 10 years or something like that. You just never know. All these threads of life that are going through that are on top of the tapestry and then go under, and you don't know when it's going to come back out again. But it's there. It's always there. But that's that's all I've got to say. Hey, why don't I haven't put anything on the wall over here. I moved it. It used to be here. Now it's there. What do you say? Let's do it. Okay, here's a good one. Oh, there's no paper. Demon SE. Standing here like an idiot, looking at this thing. There's no paper in it. I have to watch your channel in secret now because my mom wasn't a fan of effing with your videos. Mind your profanity now. That is so wholesome. And there it is. I put it on there without hitting the record button first. Oopsie. There's another comment that made it on here in a video that got cut. But it's a guy who's like, I don't know how I got here. I hate you, but this is a great video. Thanks. The irony being, this guy, he's never going to watch this video. Yet he's here. He's here on this wall. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for watching. Give it a like if you foxtrotted with this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell button so that you can be like Alexander Graham Bell. I am literally shaking and crying right now.